Sit back, relax, and welcome to Reading Hours. Today's book is Mistborn, The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. Please let us know in the comments from where you are watching or if there is a book you want us to summarize in future. Welcome, readers, to Reading Hours, where today we embark on an epic journey into a world shrouded in ash and ruled by an immortal tyrant. We're diving deep into Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn, The Final Empire, the first book in a saga that redefined epic fantasy for a generation. Published in 2006, The Final Empire burst onto the scene with its unique magic system, called Allomancy, where individuals burn metals to gain supernatural abilities. But beyond the innovative magic, this book stands out for its masterful world building, a grim, ash-choked landscape where the sun is red, plants are brown, and the oppressed lower-class toil under the iron fist of the Lord Ruler and his tyrannical steel inquisitors. Sanderson doesn't just create a fantasy world, he crafts a meticulously detailed society grappling with centuries of subjugation, a system built on deceit and brutal power. The book explores profound themes of hope, rebellion, faith, and the nature of tyranny itself. It challenges traditional fantasy tropes by presenting a world where the prophesied hero failed, leaving humanity in despair. This inversion sets the stage for a gritty, intricate heist narrative disguised as a revolutionary uprising, led by a charismatic criminal mastermind and a young, troubled street urchin. The Final Empire was a game changer, lauded for its intricate plot, compelling characters, and the sheer audacity of its premise. It sparked discussions about the ethical implications of power, the complexities of freedom, and whether true change can ever come from within a system built on oppression. Prepare to be drawn into a narrative that is both thrilling and thought-provoking, a story where the slightest glimmer of hope can ignite a rebellion, and where even the most seemingly insurmountable empires can be brought to their knees. Let's step into the Final Empire and witness the dawn of a revolution. Our journey into the Final Empire begins in Luthadel, the sprawling capital city of a world perpetually shrouded in ash, where the sun shines an angry red and the landscape is dominated by the Lord Ruler's awe-inspiring palaces and the ever-present threat of his steel inquisitors. For 1,000 years, humanity has toiled under the iron heel of this immortal deity emperor, a figure of absolute power and terrifying mystery. The the vast majority of the population, are little more than slaves, their lives a brutal cycle of labor, oppression, and despair. They are denied basic rights, forced to live in squalor, and are routinely brutalized by the Canton of Inquisition, the religious arm of the Lord Ruler's regime, and the Canton of Finance, which oversees the empire's economic structure. The Mistborn are individuals capable of burning all known allomantic metals, granting them an unparalleled suite of supernatural abilities, while Mistings can only burn one metal, offering a single power. The book opens with Vin, a young street urchin, navigating the treacherous underworld of Luthadel. She possesses a unique and unsettling luck, a sense that something is off, a feeling that helps her survive the harsh realities of her thieving crew. This luck is, in fact, an untrained allomantic ability, a skill for which her crew leader, Kamen, exploits her ruthlessly. Vin is a survivor, wary and distrustful, her life shaped by constant betrayal and the bitter lessons of a world that offers no quarter. She has learned to suppress her emotions, to never trust, and to always be ready to flee. Her existence is one of constant paranoia, a consequence of her harsh upbringing and the brutal nature of ska life. Her unique gift, her untrained allomancy, manifests as a subtle pushing and pulling of emotions in others, a raw, instinctual manipulation that allows her to influence those around her, making them more pliable to Kamen's schemes. She is a tool, a means to an end, and she knows it. Her heart is a fortress built brick by brick with layers of suspicion and self-preservation. The ash falls perpetually from the sky, a constant reminder of the Lord Ruler's power and the blight on the land, and the omnipresent threat of the ministry, the Lord Ruler's powerful and terrifying bureaucracy, looms over all. Vin's world is small, limited to the alleys and hovels of Luthadel, her focus solely on survival, her dreams non-existent. She has no hope for a better future, only a desperate struggle to see another sunrise. The city itself is a character, a sprawling, oppressive entity of stone and ash, its grand architecture a testament to the Lord Ruler's might, its hidden corners a haven for those who defy him. The opulent noble estates stand in stark contrast to the dilapidated ska hovels, a visual representation of the deeply entrenched social hierarchy. The canals, often used for transport and waste, carry the filth of the city, further highlighting the grim reality of Luthadel. Even the vegetation is affected, with the only surviving plant life being a hardy, dark-leafed species, a stark reminder of the perpetual gloom. This introduction to Vin and her world sets the stage for the dramatic upheaval that is about to disrupt her carefully constructed existence and shatter her perception of what is possible. Her journey is one of self-discovery, of learning to trust, and of embracing a power she never knew she possessed, a power that could change the very fabric of the final empire. Vin's mundane, dangerous existence is shattered by a chance encounter that will forever alter her destiny. One fateful night, while on a thieving mission with Kamen's crew, she is exposed to a powerful Mistborn, a figure of myth and terror. This encounter is not with a ministry official or a rogue Allomancer, but with Kelsier, a legendary criminal mastermind, known throughout the ska underworld as the survivor of Hathsin. Hathsin is a horrific pits, a forced labor camp where prisoners mine atium, a rare and incredibly powerful allomantic metal. Few ever return from Hathsin, and those who do are broken, their minds shattered by the experience. Kelsier, however, not only survived but emerged with his Mistborn powers fully ignited and a burning hatred for the Lord Ruler and the entire final empire. He is a charismatic, almost theatrical figure, a man who laughs in the face of death and carries an infectious, if dangerous, optimism. Kelsier observes Vin's subtle allomantic abilities, recognizing her as an untrained misting, possibly even a Mistborn. He sees in her not just a useful tool, but a kindred spirit, someone who has suffered under the same oppressive system. He approaches her not with threats or demands, but with an offer of a different kind of life, a life of purpose beyond mere survival. Kelsier's crew is a motley collection of highly skilled allomancers, each a misting specializing in a different metal. There's Ham, a thug who burns pewter for enhanced physical strength. Breeze, a soother who uses emotional allomancy to quell negative emotions. Clubs, a smoker who burns copper to hide allomantic pulses. Marsh, Kelsier's brother, a seeker who burns bronze to detect allomantic pulses. Dox, the crew's logistics expert and non-allomancer, and Yedin, a rebel leader from a distant Ska rebellion who provides the external political connection. Each member is unique, bringing their own skills and personalities to the table, creating a dynamic and often humorous group. Kelsier's true purpose is far grander and more audacious than any simple heist. He plans to overthrow the Lord Ruler, an act considered utterly impossible by everyone in the final empire. His plan is audacious, involving infiltrating noble society, destabilizing the economy, and ultimately sparking a full-scale Ska rebellion. He sees Vin as crucial to this plan, not just for her potential allomantic power, but for her street smarts and her unique ability to blend in. Vin, initially wary and distrustful, struggles to reconcile Kelsier's grand ambitions with her own ingrained cynicism. She has never known anyone who believed in anything beyond self-preservation, let alone someone who would risk everything for a cause as seemingly hopeless as overthrowing a god. Kelsier's infectious optimism and unwavering belief in their cause slowly begin to chip away at her hardened exterior, offering a glimmer of something she has never dared to hope for, a future. He promises her not just freedom, but a life of meaning, a chance to be part of something truly significant. This proposition forces Vin to confront her deepest fears and insecurities, to consider the terrifying possibility that there might be more to life than simply surviving. Kelsier's crew, despite their individual quirks and pasts, functions as a cohesive unit, bound by a shared sense of purpose and Kelsier's charismatic leadership. They represent a microcosm of the rebellion, a small, diverse group united against an overwhelming force. The introduction of Kelsier and his crew marks a turning point in Vin's life, pulling her from the shadows of Luthadal's underworld and thrusting her into the heart of a revolution that will shake the very foundations of the final empire. Under Kelsier's guidance, Vin's hidden allomantic abilities begin to manifest with astonishing power and precision. She learns that her luck is in fact the subconscious use of emotional allomancy, specifically soothing and rioting. Soothing allows her to quell emotions in others, making them more compliant or less aggressive, while rioting allows her to inflame emotions, making individuals more passionate or agitated. Kelsier, a master Mistborn himself, takes on the role of her mentor, teaching her the intricate techniques of burning different metals. He introduces her to the full spectrum of allomantic powers, burning pewter for enhanced physical strength and durability, tin for sharpened senses, iron for pulling metals, and steel for pushing metals. As Vin trains, her latent abilities blossom, revealing her to be an exceptionally powerful and intuitive allomancer, far more capable than even Kelsier initially anticipated. Her understanding of the metals and their applications grows with each lesson, and she quickly masters complex maneuvers that would take others years to perfect. Her raw talent, combined with her street-honed instincts, makes her a formidable force. Kelsier's training extends beyond just Allomancy. He endeavors to break down the walls Vin has built around herself, teaching her to trust, to believe in herself, and to understand the larger implications of their rebellion. He pushes her to socialize with the other crew members, to participate in their planning sessions, and to see herself as an integral part of their team, not just a disposable asset. This period of intense training and personal growth is crucial for Vin's transformation. She begins to shed her Ska Street urchin persona, slowly revealing a hidden strength and intelligence. Kelsier's faith in her, his unwavering belief in her potential, is a stark contrast to the endless betrayals she has experienced, and it begins to chip away at her deep-seated cynicism. He introduces her to the nuances of noble society, preparing her for her role in infiltrating their ranks. This involves lessons in etiquette, dance, and social manipulation skills that are foreign and often uncomfortable for the guarded Vin. She finds herself navigating a world of silks and chandeliers, a stark contrast to the ash-choked alleys she calls home. The juxtaposition of her past and her present is a constant source of internal conflict for her, as she struggles to reconcile her street-hardened instincts with the refined facade she must project. While Vin's personal growth takes center stage, the crew begins to lay the groundwork for their grand rebellion. Their strategy is multifaceted. First, they must destabilize the Lord Ruler's power base by disrupting the noble houses. They begin by targeting the most powerful and influential noble families, exploiting their rivalries and sowing discord among them. Kelsier uses his charisma and his crew's skills to orchestrate elaborate schemes, often playing one house against another, creating a ripple effect of chaos and suspicion. This phase of their plan is a complex dance of deception, infiltration, and carefully calculated maneuvers, all designed to weaken the Lord Ruler's seemingly impenetrable control. The goal is to create enough internal strife and uncertainty that the noble houses, usually focused on their own power struggles, become distracted and vulnerable. Kelsier's genius lies in his ability to see the interconnectedness of power structures and to exploit their weaknesses, using the very tools of the Lord Ruler's empire against itself. The training and the initial stages of the plan solidify Vin's place within the crew, forging bonds of trust and camaraderie that she never thought possible. She begins to see Kelsier not just as a mentor, but as a surrogate father figure, a beacon of hope in a world she had long given up on. As Vin delves deeper into the elaborate machinations of Kelsier's rebellion, she finds herself playing a crucial role in infiltrating the opulent, dangerous world of Luthadil's nobility. Her ability to masquerade as Valette Renew, the supposed niece of a minor noble, becomes central to their plan. This infiltration allows her to gain access to exclusive balls, social gatherings, and private meetings where the city's elite gather. Here, amidst the silks and the chandeliers, Vin observes the intricate power dynamics, the whispered conspiracies, and the casual cruelty that define noble society. She witnesses firsthand the sheer disconnect between the lavish lives of the nobles and the abject poverty of the Ska, a stark contrast that fuels her growing resentment and commitment to the rebellion. Her inherent distrust of the powerful, ingrained from her street life, makes her an astute observer, seeing through the polite veneers to the ambition and ruthlessness that lie beneath. During these social engagements, Vin encounters Elend Venture, the idealistic and unconventional heir to one of the most powerful noble houses. Elend is a striking anomaly within noble society, preferring the quiet contemplation of books and philosophical discussions to the cutthroat politics and frivolous pursuits of his peers. He is a scholar, an intellectual, who openly questions the Lord Ruler's authority and dreams of a more just society, a revolutionary sentiment that is both dangerous and refreshing to Vin. Their initial interactions are cautious, marked by Vin's ingrained suspicion and Elend's genuine curiosity and earnestness. As they spend more time together, a complex relationship begins to blossom between them. Vin is drawn to Elend's intelligence, his idealism, and his surprising kindness, qualities she has rarely encountered in her harsh life. Elend, in turn, is captivated by Vin's quiet strength, her hidden depth, and her enigmatic nature. Their connection is a dangerous dance, as Vin must maintain her elaborate facade while navigating her burgeoning feelings for a man who represents everything she is ostensibly rebelling against. This developing romance introduces a layer of emotional complexity to the narrative, as Vin struggles with the conflict between her mission and her personal desires. It forces her to confront her own vulnerabilities and the possibility of genuine affection, something she has always suppressed. Their conversations, often about philosophy, politics, and the nature of power, serve to deepen Vin's understanding of the world beyond her narrow experience. Elend's intellectual curiosity and his willingness to challenge the established order plant seeds of doubt in Vin's mind about the absolute nature of the Lord Ruler's tyranny. He represents a glimmer of hope within the noble class, a potential ally in their fight for justice. Simultaneously, Kelsier and the crew continue their multifaceted campaign to destabilize the noble houses. They use a combination of strategic assassinations, economic manipulation, and the spreading of rumors to sow discord and suspicion among the elite. Marsh, Kelsier's brother and a seeker, is instrumental in tracking down and identifying mistings within noble households, allowing Kelsier to either neutralize them or, in some cases, recruit them. Breeze, with his powerful emotional allomancy, manipulates key figures, driving them to make rash decisions or fall prey to their own worst impulses. Clubs, the smoker, provides crucial cover, allowing the crew to operate unseen by other allomancers. The entire operation is a delicate balance of careful planning and improvisation as they navigate the treacherous currents of Luthadil's upper echelons, always one step ahead of the Ministry and the terrifying Steel Inquisitors. The goal is to weaken the Lord Ruler's support base from within, to create an environment ripe for the open rebellion that Kelsier envisions. As the crew's infiltration of noble society deepens, the true ruthlessness of the final empire and the terrifying power of the Steel Inquisitors become horrifyingly clear. While Vin is perfecting her noble persona and navigating the complexities of her relationship with Elend, Kelsier and his team are actively dismantling the economic and political foundations of the Lord Ruler's reign. Their tactics become bolder, more direct. They orchestrate a series of daring raids on the Canton of Finance, stealing vast quantities of atium, the most precious and powerful allomantic metal, essential for Mistborn. These heists are not just about wealth. They are strategic strikes aimed at crippling the Lord Ruler's economy and disrupting the flow of a resource vital to his power. The atium, Kelsier reveals, is not merely a commodity. It represents the very lifeblood of the Lord Ruler's control, a finite resource that he hoards and manipulates to maintain his dominance. Concurrently, Marsh, Kelsier's brother, undertakes an incredibly dangerous mission to infiltrate the Canton of Inquisition itself. The Canton of Inquisition is the brutal, fanatical arm of the Lord Ruler's government, responsible for hunting down and executing allomancers who are not in the Lord Ruler's service, and for maintaining strict control over the Ska population. Its most feared agents are the Steel Inquisitors, terrifying figures with metal spikes driven through their eyes, granting them enhanced allomantic abilities and an unsettling, unholy appearance. Marsh's infiltration is a high-stakes gamble, requiring him to undergo a horrifying transformation that strips him of his humanity and forces him to become one of the very monsters he despises. This sacrifice underscores the extreme lengths to which Kelsier and his crew are willing to go for their cause. Marsh's role is to gather intelligence from within the heart of the enemy, providing crucial insights into the Ministry's movements, the Inquisitor's weaknesses, and the Lord Ruler's inner workings. His reports are grim, revealing the pervasive corruption and the sheer brutality that underpins the Empire. The very existence of Marsh within the Canton of Inquisition is a constant, chilling reminder of the personal cost of their rebellion. Vin, in her noble persona, continues to gather vital intelligence from Elend and his circle. Her burgeoning relationship with Elend, while genuinely affectionate, also serves as a critical conduit for information about noble politics, the Lord Ruler's strategies, and the Ministry's investigations. She learns of the escalating tensions between the noble houses, their increasing paranoia, and their growing fear of Kelsier's mysterious survivor persona. The Lord Ruler's response to Kelsier's provocations is swift and brutal. The Steel Inquisitors intensify their hunt for Kelsier and his crew, their methods becoming increasingly ruthless. Mass executions of Ska are carried out as a deterrent, entire villages are razed, and torture becomes even more widespread. The Ministry tightens its grip, imposing stricter curfews and increasing surveillance. This escalation of violence and oppression serves to highlight the immense stakes of their rebellion, reminding everyone, including the crew, that failure means not just their deaths, but the obliteration of any hope for the Ska. The atmosphere in Luthadel becomes one of palpable fear and escalating tension, as the Ministry's iron fist descends with renewed ferocity. The crew, despite their successes, finds themselves facing an increasingly desperate and powerful enemy, and the shadow of the Inquisitors looms larger with each passing day. The reality of their fight is no longer just about grand ideals. It is about survival against a relentless, overwhelming force that is willing to sacrifice countless lives to maintain its dominion. As the rebellion gains momentum and the Ministry's retaliation intensifies, Kelsier reveals the full, audacious scope of his plan for the Ska uprising. His vision extends far beyond simply destabilizing the noble houses or crippling the economy. He intends to incite a massive, city-wide rebellion among the Ska, a direct assault on the Lord Ruler's power. He has been systematically spreading rumors of a survivor, a divine figure who has returned to lead the oppressed to freedom. This carefully crafted myth plays into existing Ska prophecies and their deep-seated yearning for liberation, painting Kelsier as their savior. He strategically uses public acts of defiance, like the brazen theft of Atium and the symbolic executions of corrupt noblemen, to reinforce this legend and to ignite a spark of hope in the hearts of the downtrodden. This is a gamble of unprecedented scale, as the Ska have been utterly broken by a millennium of oppression, their spirit crushed. Kelsier knows that simply telling them to rebel won't work. He needs to inspire them, to give them something tangible to believe in. His theatrical gestures, his almost reckless bravado, are all designed to cultivate this image of an invincible champion, a figure of hope against the overwhelming despair. Meanwhile, Vin continues her delicate dance within noble society. Her relationship with Elend deepens, becoming a source of unexpected comfort and intellectual stimulation. She finds herself drawn to his philosophical discussions and his genuine desire for a better world, a stark contrast to the cynicism and brutality she has always known. However, her increasing emotional vulnerability poses a threat to her mission. She struggles with the deception inherent in her role, torn between her burgeoning feelings for Elend and her unwavering loyalty to Kelsier and the rebellion. The line between Valette Renew and Vin, the street urchin, begins to blur, creating an internal conflict that she must navigate. This struggle is intensified by the constant awareness of the danger she is in, knowing that a single misstep could expose her and jeopardize the entire plan. As the rebellion approaches its critical phase, the crew faces unforeseen challenges and devastating losses. Marsh, their mole within the Ministry, sends increasingly desperate and fragmented reports, hinting at the true depth of the Lord Ruler's power and the horrific nature of the Inquisitor's experiments. One particularly chilling report details the Ministry's attempts to create new, more powerful Allomancers, further escalating the threat. The crew's meticulously laid plans hit critical snags. Some of their noble contacts prove unreliable. Their attempts to manipulate the economy face unexpected resistance, and the Ministry's counterintelligence becomes more effective. These setbacks highlight the immense power and pervasive reach of the Lord Ruler's regime, reminding the crew that their enemy is far from defeated. In a devastating blow, one of the key figures in the Ska rebellion, Yedin, a strong leader who Kelsier had brought into the fold, is killed. His death is a significant setback, not just for their operational capabilities, but for the morale of the Ska who had placed their hopes in him. This loss serves as a stark reminder of the sacrifices and dangers inherent in their fight, and it forces Kelsier and the crew to confront the harsh reality of their desperate struggle against an omnipotent foe. The weight of these losses and the escalating violence presses heavily on Vin, forcing her to confront the grim realities of revolution and the immense personal cost of freedom. The stakes are higher than ever, and the path forward is fraught with peril. The meticulously laid plans of Kelsier and his crew begin to unravel, culminating in a series of devastating setbacks that threaten to derail the entire rebellion. The first major blow comes when the Canton of Inquisition discovers Marsh's infiltration. Although Marsh manages to escape, his close call means their crucial intelligence pipeline from within the ministry is compromised. This forces the crew to rely on increasingly risky and desperate measures for information. The ministry, now fully aware of a concerted effort against them, tightens its grip on Luthadel, increasing patrols, imposing harsher restrictions, and employing even more brutal tactics against the Ska. This escalation of oppression has a chilling effect on the Ska population, driving them further into despair and making the prospect of rebellion seem even more hopeless. The carefully cultivated myth of Kelsier as the survivor begins to crack under the weight of the ministry's overwhelming force and their relentless counter-propaganda. Doubt and fear spread through the Ska ranks, threatening to extinguish the fragile hope that Kelsier had painstakingly ignited. Kelsier himself, usually so charismatic and seemingly invincible, suffers a profound emotional blow. A significant portion of his carefully amassed atium, vital for their strategic advantage, is stolen in a daring raid, widely believed to be orchestrated by the Lord Ruler himself. This loss is not just financial. It represents a major tactical defeat, weakening their ability to confront the Lord Ruler directly. Furthermore, a crucial Ska uprising in a distant city, which Kelsier had hoped would draw the ministry's forces away from Luthadel, is brutally crushed. The news of this massacre reaches Luthadel, further demoralizing the Ska and reinforcing the perception of the Lord Ruler's invincibility. It becomes clear that the Lord Ruler is not simply reacting to their moves. He is anticipating them, countering them with terrifying efficiency. The rebellion's morale plummets. The crew, despite their unwavering loyalty to Kelsier, begins to feel the weight of their impossible task. The constant pressure, the near misses, and the tragic losses take their toll. Even Vin, who had found a glimmer of hope in Kelsier's vision, starts to question the viability of their mission. The dream of overthrowing the Lord Ruler seems to slip further and further away, replaced by the grim reality of insurmountable odds. The very foundation of Kelsier's carefully constructed confidence begins to waver, and for the first time, he appears vulnerable, even desperate. The Lord Ruler, it seems, has outmaneuvered them at every turn, demonstrating a terrifying depth of strategic foresight and an unparalleled mastery of power. The climax of this string of setbacks comes when Kelsier is lured into a trap. Driven by a desperate need to recover the stolen atium and to rekindle the Ska's hope, he confronts a force of steel inquisitors and obligators the Lord Ruler's bureaucratic and religious enforcers in a public display. In a horrifying turn of events, Kelsier, the invincible survivor, is defeated. His body is impaled on a metal spike, and he is executed by the Lord Ruler himself in front of a horrified crowd of Ska. This public execution is a devastating blow, designed to utterly crush any remaining hope among the Ska and to serve as a brutal demonstration of the Lord Ruler's absolute power. For Vin, witnessing Kelsier's death is an unimaginable trauma. It shatters her world, extinguishing the fragile flame of hope he had ignited within her. The man who had given her purpose, who had taught her to trust, and who had believed in her potential, is gone. Despair washes over the rebellion, threatening to consume everything they had fought for. The Lord Ruler has seemingly won, and the final Empire's reign of terror appears destined to continue for another 1,000 years. Kelsier's public execution, a brutal and calculated act by the Lord Ruler, plunges Luthadel into utter despair. The Ska, whose fragile hope had been meticulously nurtured by Kelsier's charisma and legend, witnessed the brutal demise of their survivor. The sight of Kelsier impaled on a spike, then summarily dispatched by the Lord Ruler himself, shatters their spirit. Any lingering thoughts of rebellion are seemingly extinguished, replaced by a renewed, suffocating sense of hopelessness. The Ministry uses Kelsier's death as a powerful propaganda tool, parading his body and proclaiming the Lord Ruler's absolute invincibility. The city falls silent, a pall of fear settling over the Ska districts. The crew, devastated by the loss of their leader, their mentor, and their friend, is left reeling. Their meticulously crafted plans lie in tatters, their morale is at an all-time low, and the future of the rebellion appears irrevocably bleak. The individual members grapple with their grief and despair in different ways. Breeze, usually so jovial and lighthearted, becomes withdrawn and despondent, his emotional manipulation abilities now turned inward. Ham, the strongman, struggles with a sense of failure, his physical prowess rendered meaningless in the face of such overwhelming power. Dox, the pragmatic strategist, struggles to find a path forward, his calculations proving useless against the unpredictable and absolute power of the Lord Ruler. Vin, however, experiences a profound, transformative moment amidst her grief. Kelsier's death, while devastating, also provides a shocking moment of clarity. She recalls his final, enigmatic words whispered to her before his demise: "Believe in yourself, Vin. Believe in what I taught you." As the crowd disperses and the Ministry gloats, Vin observes the Lord Ruler's triumphant gaze, and a sudden, inexplicable shift occurs within her. She realizes that Kelsier's death was not an accident or a defeat, but a calculated, final act of defiance. He had designed his own demise to be a catalyst, a spark that would ignite a different kind of rebellion, one that went beyond simply overthrowing the Lord Ruler. He had transformed himself into a martyr, a symbol of hope that could not be killed, a legend that would inspire the Ska to rise up in their own name. This realization, coupled with her raw grief and a surge of determination, unleashes the full extent of Vin's hidden Mistborn abilities. In a moment of pure, unadulterated rage and grief, she erupts with a torrent of allomantic power. She ignites every metal, demonstrating a mastery and ferocity that even Kelsier would have admired. The Ministry guards, caught off guard by this unexpected display of power from the young Ska girl, are quickly overwhelmed. Vin, fueled by an inner fire she never knew she possessed, cuts a swat through their ranks, a living embodiment of Kelsier's final, desperate hope. Her actions are not just a display of power, they are a direct challenge to the Lord Ruler's authority, a living testament to Kelsier's belief that even in death, hope could persevere. This spectacular display of power, witnessed by the terrified remnants of the crowd, begins to reignite the faint embers of hope in the Ska. Kelsier's sacrifice, far from crushing them, becomes a rallying cry, a testament to the fact that even a god can be challenged. The crew, witnessing Vin's transformation, is galvanized. They realize Kelsier had a final, secret plan, one that relied on Vin's inherent strength and her ability to step into his shoes. They understand that Kelsier's martyrdom was not an end, but a new beginning, a final, desperate gamble that now rested entirely on Vin's shoulders. The mantle of the survivor is passed to Vin, who, through her grief and rage, embodies the true spirit of rebellion. Fueled by her grief and Kelsier's final, sacrificial act, Vin fully embraces her identity as a Mistborn and the true successor to the rebellion. The public execution of Kelsier, intended by the Lord Ruler to crush the Ska's spirit, instead acts as the ultimate catalyst, igniting a fury and a desperate hope that Vin now embodies. She takes on the mantle of the survivor, not just as a symbol, but as an active leader, demonstrating a powerful and unwavering resolve. Her newfound confidence and a terrifying mastery of Allomancy inspire the crew, who, despite their profound grief, rally around her. They understand now that Kelsier's death was a calculated move, designed to empower Vin and to truly awaken the Ska. Vin, now fully in control of her myriad abilities, leads the charge. She directly confronts the Lord Ruler's forces, her raw power and strategic brilliance overwhelming the Ministry's defenses. Her allomantic prowess is unparalleled. She uses steel pushing and iron pulling with devastating effect, manipulating metal objects with incredible precision to disarm, disorient, and defeat her enemies. She burns pewter for enhanced strength and endurance, fighting with a ferocity that reflects her grief and her commitment to Kelsier's memory. Her tin-enhanced senses allow her to perceive every detail of the battlefield, making her an elusive and dangerous opponent. The Ska, witnessing Vin's incredible display of power and her fearless defiance, are finally spurred to action. Kelsier's martyrdom, amplified by Vin's immediate and visceral response, becomes the rallying cry they needed. The fear that had held them captive for 1,000 years begins to dissipate, replaced by a surge of collective rage and a desire for freedom. They rise up in a desperate, chaotic, but ultimately powerful rebellion, swarming the city, clashing with the Lord Ruler's forces in a raw, unorganized, but impactful uprising. Simultaneously, the crew, recovering from their initial shock, enacts the final stages of Kelsier's meticulously planned strategy. Dox orchestrates the last critical economic maneuvers, further destabilizing the noble houses and causing widespread chaos within the canton of finance. Breeze and Ham use their emotional allomancy and brute strength to sow discord and break lines of defense, pushing the ska forward. Clubs provides crucial cover with his copper burning, shielding their actions from the ubiquitous seekers of the ministry. Marsh, still suffering from his traumatic transformation, uses his compromised position within the ministry to provide last-minute intelligence and to cause internal disruptions, further weakening the Lord Ruler's command structure from within. The noble houses, already weakened by Kelsier's earlier manipulations and the escalating chaos, find themselves caught in the crossfire. Their internal rivalries and their ingrained fear of the Lord Ruler prevent them from forming a unified front against the burgeoning Ska rebellion. Some attempt to flee, others try to maintain order, but their power is rapidly eroding. The city of Luthadel descends into a full-blown war zone, a maelstrom of ash, fire, and the clanging of metal as the Ska fight for their freedom against the Lord Ruler's seemingly insurmountable forces. The rebellion, initially a clandestine operation, explodes into an open, desperate struggle for liberation, with Vin at its fiery heart, embodying the hope that Kelsier had died to inspire. The climax of Mistborn, the final empire, culminates in a breathtaking and revelatory confrontation between Vin and the Lord Ruler himself. Following her awe-inspiring display of power and the subsequent Ska uprising, Vin races towards the Lord Ruler's palace, the imposing symbol of 1,000 years of tyranny. She confronts him directly, and it is in this ultimate battle that the true extent of his power and the true nature of the final empire are shockingly revealed. The Lord Ruler is not merely a powerful Mistborn. He is the original Mistborn, the one who acquired all of the Allomantic powers. He reveals himself to be Rashek, a man who, 1,000 years ago, during a time known as the Deepness, gained immense power from the legendary Well of Ascension. He used this power not to save humanity in the way prophesied, but to reshape the world and establish his tyrannical reign, believing it was the only way to protect humanity from a greater, unknown threat. He altered the very climate of the world, shrouded it in ash, and created the Ska as an enslaved class to ensure his continued dominion. This revelation shatters Vin's perception of history and the world itself. The prophecies, the very foundation of her world, were a lie. The hero was the villain, and the savior was the oppressor. The Lord Ruler's true nature is a profound betrayal of all that was believed. During their intense Allomantic duel, Vin, empowered by Kelsier's final lesson and her own burgeoning understanding of the metals, finds a crucial weakness in the Lord Ruler's seemingly impenetrable defenses. She realizes that his power is not limitless, that he too has a vulnerability. She uses a combination of her superior speed, tactical brilliance, and the unique properties of atium, which she had learned to burn with unparalleled precision, to anticipate and counter his moves. The fight is a brutal dance of pushing and pulling, a whirlwind of metal and raw power. Ultimately, it is the Lord Ruler's reliance on his bands of steel, which he uses to store vast amounts of power through a different magic system called ferrachemy, that proves to be his undoing. Vin, using her understanding of Allomancy, finds a way to exploit this reliance. In a final, desperate move, she manages to rip the bands from his body, draining him of his immense power and revealing him to be an old, frail man, utterly dependent on his stolen strength. With his power gone, the Lord Ruler is vulnerable. In a moment of sheer determination, Vin delivers the final blow, ending his 1,000-year reign. The immediate aftermath of the Lord Ruler's death is chaos and uncertainty. The perpetual ashfalls finally cease, a symbol of the breaking of the ancient curse. The Ska, liberated from generations of bondage, rejoice in their newfound freedom, but the challenges of rebuilding a shattered society quickly become apparent. The noble houses are in disarray, their power structures crumbling. The ministry, with its inquisitors and obligators, falls into disarray, its agents either fleeing or being overwhelmed by the newly freed Ska. In the quiet moments after the Lord Ruler's defeat, Vin discovers a final, chilling revelation. Through the Lord Ruler's last, whispered words and her own intuitive deductions, she uncovers the true, horrifying purpose of his 1,000-year reign. He was not merely a tyrant, but a guardian. He had held back a greater, darker force, an entity known only as the Deepness, which threatens to destroy the world if unleashed. His oppressive regime, therefore, was not merely for his own power, but a desperate, flawed attempt to contain this cataclysmic threat. This revelation casts a shadow over their victory, transforming the Lord Ruler from a purely evil despot into a complex, tragic figure who, in his twisted way, believed he was saving humanity. The ending leaves the newly freed people and Vin and her crew with a profound sense of uncertainty. They have achieved their impossible goal, but at what cost? The world is free, but it is also vulnerable to a far greater danger. The final empire concludes with a sense of triumph mixed with an unsettling realization of the immense challenges that lie ahead, leaving the reader with a powerful cliffhanger and a desire to understand the true nature of the evil that the Lord Ruler had so desperately tried to contain. Mistborn, The Final Empire, is far more than a simple fantasy novel. It is a profound exploration of hope, revolution, and the complex nature of power. Brandon Sanderson masterfully crafts a world where the heroes are criminals, the savior is a forgotten tyrant, and the true threat lies hidden beneath layers of deceit and misconception. The book challenges traditional fantasy narratives by presenting a world where the chosen one failed, leaving humanity in despair, and then brilliantly redefines heroism through the struggles of ordinary people who dare to dream of freedom. The novel's intricate Allomancy magic system, while captivating, serves as a powerful metaphor for the different ways power can be wielded, both for good and for ill. The enduring impact of The Final Empire lies not only in its thrilling plot and compelling characters, but also in its thought-provoking themes. It forces readers to question the nature of tyranny, the ethical implications of radical change, and whether the ends truly justify the means. The ending, with its shocking revelations about the Lord Ruler's true motivations and the looming threat of the deepness, leaves a lasting impression, transforming a tale of triumph into a complex moral dilemma. It solidifies Mistborn, the final empire, as a cornerstone of modern fantasy, a story that resonates long after the final page, inviting readers to ponder the true cost of freedom and the ever-present shadow of a world's hidden truths.